When we're living in survival mode, what's actually happening in our bodies and minds? What if understanding this is actually the key to moving through it more mindfully? Last episode, we talked about how to meet ourselves in survival mode, how to acknowledge it, accept it, name what's real, and shift our expectations so we're not constantly fighting the season we're in. Today, I want to take us a step deeper because something really important happens when we understand what survival mode is actually doing to us. Not just emotionally, but neurologically, physiologically, systematically. Because if we don't understand this part, we will keep mislabeling and misunderstanding our own experience. We'll call ourselves lazy or unmotivated, inconsistent, when what's actually happening is our system is overloaded and adapting accordingly. So let's start with the brain. When we're in chronic stress, research in cognitive psychology shows that our working memory capacity decreases. That means the part of our brain responsible for holding and manipulating information in real time, like planning, prioritizing, decision making, has less bandwidth available. So when you feel like, I can't think straight, I keep forgetting things, I start things and I don't finish them, that is not a personal failure. That is cognitive load exceeding your capacity. Your brain is literally reallocating energy away from higher level thinking and toward basic survival, which is why decision making becomes more reactive than intentional during this kind of a season. You're not asking, what aligns with my long term vision? You're asking, what reduces pressure right now? And then there's the body. Because stress doesn't just live in your thoughts, it accumulates in your nervous system. And that's where polyvagal theory gives us a really helpful map. So let's go a little more technical now. Polyvagal theory, developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, explains how our autonomic nervous system, which controls things like heart rate, digestion, and stress response, moves through three primary states. And these states are governed by the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body. It runs from your brainstem down through your face, your throat, your heart, your lungs, your digestive organs, and it's essentially the communication highway between your brain and your entire body. And its job is to constantly scan for cues of safety or danger, both internally and externally. Based on what it detects, it shifts your body into one of three states. One is the ventral vagal, which is when you feel safe and connected, also known as parasympathetic. That's when we feel grounded, present, open. That's where creativity and connection and regulation live. Number two is the sympathetic, which is fight or flight. That is activation, urgency, anxiety, productivity spikes, and your system is mobilized to deal with a perceived threat. Number three is the dorsal vagal, which is shutdown and freeze. That's where all energy just drops, and you might feel numb, disconnected, exhausted, or maybe even disassociated. Your system is conserving energy because it perceives a total overwhelm. And here's what's important about this. When we're in survival mode, we tend to cycle between sympathetic activation and dorsal shutdown. Put simply, we're either pushing or crashing. And what's often missing is that sustained access to the ventral vagal or the parasympathetic state, where we actually feel safe enough to rest, connect, and restore. So when you notice yourself going from, I need to get everything done right now, to, I literally can't do anything at all, that's not inconsistency. That is your nervous system moving between protective states. Now, this brings us to something really important. Stress that isn't completed stays in the body. Your nervous system is designed to move through stress in cycles: activation, response, resolution. But in modern life, we often interrupt that cycle. We feel the activation, the stress, the urgency, the emotion, but we don't always allow it to go to completion. We suppress it, override it, or just move on too quickly. And that incomplete stress response accumulates, which is why survival mode can start to feel chronic. So the question becomes, how do we actually complete the stress cycle? Not intellectually, not by thinking our way through it, but through the body. And this is where we come back to one of the only systems that we can consciously influence: our breath. Because most of our autonomic processes are automatic, your breathing is both automatic and voluntary. We breathe without thinking every minute of every day. And we can think about how we breathe and decide how and when we breathe. Pretty cool, right? Which makes it a direct access point to our nervous systems. When you slow your breathing down, especially your exhale, you stimulate that vagus nerve, and that increases the parasympathetic activity and signals in your body, saying, we're safe enough to come down now. So, practically speaking, what does that look like? Well, it can be incredibly simple. I did a series on breathwork and somatic healing exercises, which I'll link here for you. But just to give you an overview of options that you can do right now in this moment is number one, extended exhales. You can inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 6 or 8 counts. The longer exhales help downregulate your system. Number 2 is a physiological sigh. So 2 quick inhales through the nose, followed by a long exhale through the mouth. This has been shown to radically reduce stress in the body. Number 3 is movement to discharge activation. So if you're in that go, go, go energy, your body may need to complete that stress response physically. You could shake out your arms, you could go for a brisk walk, you could even pace around. This is why you may hear many people say that they clean when they're anxious or activated, because movement moves stress through the body to complete the cycle. And this even mirrors what animals do in the wild to release stress when you see them pacing around in circles. Number 4, orient to safety. That looks like gently looking around your environment, letting your eyes land on things in your space that feel neutral or pleasant, and just reminding your nervous system that I am not in immediate danger. There are no lions and tigers and bears here trying to eat me right now. And number 5 is sound and vibration, humming, singing, even using a low voo sound. The vagus nerve runs through your vocal cords, so sound can directly stimulate regulation. And again, this isn't about doing all of these perfectly. It's about recognizing that your body isn't asking you to fix it. It's asking you to support it. Because survival mode isn't just a moment, it's a state that compounds over time when it's unsupported. And the opposite is also true. Small moments of regulation, small completions of stress, compound too. They slowly create the conditions for your system to come back online. So, as you move through today, I want you to hold this reframe. This survival mode state that your body is in is understandable and totally okay that you're experiencing. Your brain is conserving energy, your body is protecting you, and your nervous system is adapting. And your job right now isn't to override that, ignore that, or make it wrong for doing that. It's to work with it. In the next part of this series, we're going to build on this and talk about how to create rhythms and structures that actually support you in this season instead of constantly pulling you out of alignment. But for now, take a breath, maybe that longer exhale than usual, and let that be enough for today. And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode on the Contentment Creator channel, where we looked at how to move through a season of survival mode mindfully. Whether you caught the whole episode or one of our segments, either way, thank you for making it all the way to the end, and I hope that you are subscribed so you don't miss another episode. Join me in my mission to help a world full of content creators become a world of contentment creators. Bye, y'all.